Caitlin, Dennis, thanks for your time today. Congratulations on Tomorrow When the World Began. You must be very pleased with the way it's turned out. Tell us a little bit about the preparations for it. Clearly this for a reasonably physical role. What sort of preparations did you have to go through before getting onto the set?
We do a lot of physical training.
Yeah, we did like 3 weeks of personal training before the shoot, and a lot of dirt bike, weapons training, and we went paintballing, which was so we got ready for war, which was
basically,
great.
essentially, yeah. That's what we did.
And nonetheless, when you got to the set, what then did you find the most challenging part of your roles in each case?
I suppose just trying to team, the physical exhaustion as well as the emotional exhaustion, because these are such, the film is set in such harrowing, grim times, and then to combine that with, working from 6 PM to 6 AM, it was just exhausting.
I think for me, I haven't done a lot of screen, so keeping the same intensity throughout so many number of takes, and as saying physically and mentally, it takes its toll, but also just getting used to the grandness of everything. So the set's huge, everything, getting thrown into that, it's just all a bit surreal.
Now, this film is based on a book from John Marsden, and I understand he came to the set during some of the filming. Can you tell us what your reactions were when he arrived?
It was kind of, it was bizarre.
Yeah.
Because before he arrived on set, it hadn't really dawned on us that this was something that existed long before, we were ever attached to it. Or that's what it was like for me. It was kind of like, oh my God, I completely forgot the gravity of this project and what it actually means.
It was cool that he brought his whole family, and he was really blown away by the whole thing, and the fact that this whole production, or the production, was based on something that he wrote so many years ago, and now we're all working off and making a livelihood off it. So it was very cool to just hang out with, and it's John Marsden. We're all fans of his book, so he made it an idol.
And was there sort of exchanges in terms of what you were doing, the way it should be interpreted, anything like that, or what was his take on what was going on?
He kind of didn't have anything to do with it, really, in a sense. Because it was Stuart's interpretation, and therefore Stuart had to, take the reins and really be responsible for everything that happened. I guess he couldn't really go to John for anything, because if he did, it wouldn't be his work. It'd be, in collaboration with John Marsden.
John was great, but as far as Stuart was telling us, that he was just really trusting with Stuart, and with us as well. It was Stuart guiding us through our characters and through the story. It was never John. He completely gave over the story to Stuart, and Stuart made it uniquely his own, I think.
Now, talking about Stuart, he of course was the screenwriter for the Pirates of the Caribbean films, amongst other things. Must be quite intimidating to work with someone with such extraordinary CV.
Well, no, Stuart's never been that person to us. Even when I went in for my first audition, I hadn't looked him up, because I hate the feeling of walking into an audition room and being, overwhelmed by someone's CV. It's not a nice feeling. So I made a point of not looking him up, and I just went in there, and it was just Stuart, and he's always just been Stuart to us.
Yeah,
and that sounds funny, but now he's our friend. Yeah,
exactly, and he's been great throughout the whole process. He really helped us throughout any problem that we might have, and I knew Stuart. Because I was really a fan of Collateral and Pirates of the Caribbean and that. So, but it's just a pleasure to work with him. He was so helpful throughout the whole process, and there was never a question he couldn't answer, or a question stupid enough for him, which was a lot of for me.
Now, for both of you, this was effectively first motion picture roles, or certainly in these sort of leading roles. What were the most challenging things in the step up? Essentially, it was probably a long way from Ramsay Street to Wirrawee in this instance. Tell us about some of those challenges.
I guess the main challenge is that when you go from television to film, particularly on a show like Neighbours, there's over 20-odd cast or something. So the onus is on everybody to get it right, and it's someone will pick up the slack if you don't. Where with us, we all have such specific roles to fulfill that there was a lot of pressure to get it right, because Neighbours is an original story every day. Well, not, original in the sense that it's not based on anything. And Tomorrow When the War Began is based on a book that is really dearly loved. So it was just terrifying to think that you might be doing a character that is, so well known at Justice.
For me, this film was on a scale far greater than anything I've ever done. I've done a lot of theatre and then a bit of TV as well, as the Bell Rings Disney show. And it's Disney, it was fun, it was games, it was us mucking around. But then to get thrown in head first at something like this, it was fun, but it was daunting as well. I mean, on top of that pressure of, having to live up to these characters that have been loved for so many years. But as soon as we started filming, I think all that just went out the window, and we really just started to have fun as a group and really play around with these characters. So that all those sort of walls sort of crumbled down.
I want to ask about the group. I mean, there were 7 or, depending how you count it, 7 or 8 very talented, young, aspiring actors together. How did that work? There must have been at times some tensions.
No, never with us. I mean, I know that sounds completely false, but because a lot of the time I think we were either all in big scenes together or it was about my interaction with them, if you know what I mean, because it's all from Ellie's perspective. So we never really got an opportunity to have any rivalries, I don't think, because it was just a case of wanting to make a good film and wanting to work together. Of course we got on each other's nerves at times, but there were those instances far and few between.
And we lived together pretty much on and off set. We were staying in the same hotel on location, so everyone was a door down. So I guess it was really grateful that we got along, because or else it would have been a really long
but none of us got along too well, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, as well, that's weird.
Caitlin, Dennis, many thanks, and I hope the film does well on its release.
Thank you very much.